A federal judge has ruled that Governor Rick Scott's drug testing program for welfare recipients is unconstitutional. This is federal judge Mary S. Shriven, and she says the following: the courts find that there is no set of circumstances under which the warrantless, suspicionless drug testing at issue in this case could be constitutionally applied. And she is arguing that this violates the Constitution's protections against unreasonable searches and seizures, which I absolutely agree with. Now, there are many issues when it comes to this drug testing program. For one, you should keep in mind that Governor Rick Scott founded a urgent care chain known as Solantic, and Solantic does the drug testing, which means that he profits from this, right? Now, he divested his interest in this company. However, what he did do is he transferred shares to a trust in his wife's name, which means that he's still obviously profiting from this. So there's a little bit of a conflict of interest there. But another issue that I always had with this is you are already assuming that someone is guilty and you want to prove them innocent prior to them receiving government assistance or whatever that not only helps them but helps their children, right? Yeah, jump in.
And also, right, there was a study that showed that because they did enforce this before before the judge found it unconstitutional, that the people that they were drug testing had significantly lower incidences of drug use than the population at large. To assume that because somebody is poor, because somebody is disenfranchised, they're more likely to be an addict is the grossest bigotry I can even, and the fact that this person, that Rick Scott can't see that his constituents can't see that. It's so obvious from the outside.
Well, I think that his constituents can see it, and I think that they support him in absolutely despising people who are on welfare.
Absolutely.
But I think that if you're going to despise and distrust the poor, none of these half measures. Okay, if you can test them for drugs in their urine, test their blood, see how much cholesterol they have. Maybe they've been eating too much fast food. Why are they wasting money on that? Maybe their eyes are strained. Maybe they've been watching too much reality TV or something like that. I mean, these people don't currently have a job. They shouldn't be able to have any enjoyment out of any area of life. How dare they occasionally smoke a little bit of weed?
And this is the thing too, instead of going one step further and actually looking at the root causes of the problem, the root causes of poverty and unemployment and drug abuse, just like you were saying, why would these people, they might have higher cholesterol because they're eating more fast food. Why? Because that's all they have available to them. Because we live in a fucking society that keeps us down, that keeps the kind of lowest social classes in their place. There's no social mobility anymore in America. And it just irks me so much that, like you were saying, the constituency probably backs Rick Scott in having utter disdain for people on welfare. I wouldn't be surprised that the majority of his voters have had to use the welfare system at some point in their life.
Let me jump in really quick. Sorry, Jimmy, because Cara did bring up a point about how the drug tests do not yield the results that Rick Scott would expect, right? So if you look at the general population in the United States, 8% of the general population ages 12 and older report using illicit drugs. However, if you look specifically at welfare applicants, less than 2% of applicants tested positive for drugs. So they test lower than the national average. Okay, so they're less likely than the national average to use drugs.
Well, but the cool thing about that is that his company gets paid whether they find the drugs or not.
Absolutely. Yep. About $30 per drug test.
Taxpayers, right?
So again, things like this keep happening, like what's happening, and there used to be shame involved in America, and then it was the media watchdog's job to shame people who would do things like this. And Mike Wallace on 60 Minutes would come at you with a camera, and you would run the other fucking way because you just got shamed and embarrassed and revealed, right? So how is this? So again, I got to go back to Brian Williams is going to go, well, some people say it's not good, but some people say you should. I can't tell you because I'm a corporate tool and I can't actually tell you what's happening. I'm Brian Williams. I work for a defense contractor.
The shame, though, is still there. It's just now we're shaming the people on welfare.
Well, that's exactly.
We're shaming the people who are in the worst possible position.
And the root cause of poverty is these lazy fucking dark people who don't want to work.
That's exactly the viewpoint.
And the worst are the lazy Mexicans who somehow are lazy and taking our jobs.
Another area of the half measures that really bother me, and I think that if ideologically you are opposed to people taking drugs while receiving welfare, not just the people who are receiving SNAP benefits or something, something. There's a lot of forms of welfare.
SNAP benefits.
Yeah, well, they've mostly been taken away. But we give, in this country, we give massive corporate welfare. I would like to see them investigate these CEOs and find out if they have some sorts of painkillers in their system, or if they've been taking Viagra or something like that. How dare you take drugs like that when you're receiving billions of dollars to prop up your failing, bloated bank?
Ooh,
I think it's ridiculous.
I wonder what that percentage is really compared to the national average. I bet you there's
it's
so
gotta
much
be
more drug use.
insane.
Oh, are you kidding me? Those coke-addicted fucking megalomaniacs who have turned investment banking into a casino gambling, those pricks who spend their lunch hours at the whorehouses and strip clubs, those guys?
And they all have doctors who will definitely give them the good
Definitely
drugs.
get everything
for sure.
they want.
Let's get some drug testing on that form of welfare.
Yeah.